Welcome back to ciLiving. I'm your host, Jaclyn Friedlander. The University of Illinois Extension recently wrapped up one of their biggest events of the year, the Garden Walk. The last time we talked with Ryan was before the event, but now he is here with an event recap. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thanks for having me. What a fun event it was.
It really was. So tell me what all went down at Garden Walk. I was actually there, so I have some stories too.
Well, yeah, I saw you around. Thanks for coming out that day. But we
Yeah.
had tons of people from around the area. So I talked to people from all different communities that came to check out. The Idea Garden is a Master Gardener garden that Extension does, but there were 7 other gardens on the Garden Walk. So folks got a taste of all of Champaign-Urbana as they kind of cruised around and checked those out. So it was a little bit warm. I guess that was the big topic of the day, was the heat. What did you find cool about the event?
I thought it was so great because, like you said, there were all different locations. So Cranert Center had a garden and then all different people. So it was really cool to go into Master Gardeners' personal yards and sort of see what other people have chosen to do with their yards, because it gave me a lot of ideas. And I would say one of my favorite things was somebody had an entire backyard koi pond that they had built the whole filtration system out of like barrels and PVC pipe, and then had this huge garden with fish in the middle of sort of an urban oasis.
Yeah, that was an amazing space. And what I really liked was there was a lot of shade plants in there.
Yes.
And I don't know, I've been focused kind of on shade gardening this year. So some of my favorite gardens were the ones that had a little bit of shade. And some cool ferns and hostas and all those things. But that was a really neat one. I think another one that was a favorite of mine was there's a garden that had a lot of focus on vegetable production.
Yes.
And that's a neat thing you can do right in your garden space where you can also eat it.
Yeah, and I think they even called it the Garden of Eden, which was so clever, because if you go to Garden Walk, you get a little booklet that kind of gives you a synopsis of what to expect from each garden, who the Master Gardener is, and then the title of each different garden. So I know the garden you're talking about. It was so cool to see like beans growing. I don't know that I had ever seen an actual beanstalk in a garden.
And I know in the book it listed the number of different crops they grew, but it was an amazing number of, I don't know if it was 20 or 30 different crops in a small backyard space. And some of these are kind of interesting things you wouldn't normally see in a vegetable garden. So that was one of my favorites. I think we had another garden that was kind of over on the outskirts towards Parkland College, kind of in Western Champaign, and they had a lot of just informational little signs. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, it was kind of like a museum in the garden that like explained what the intention behind each area was.
And I thought that was neat because it talks about the plants some too, but also their inspiration as gardeners as to why they put those plants there or chose that or pick that style of gardening.
Yeah,
so
well, and you had mentioned the birdhouse on, there was a birdhouse contest that U of I did. You had mentioned that on the show. And so I looked into it and I actually got really inspired and I built a birdhouse and entered it into the contest. It was kind of Alice in Wonderland. Oh, there it is. It was Alice in Wonderland themed. So I made the front kind of like the door that asks her drink me with the cookie and the thing. The side you can see the Mad Hatter, and I had like a little tea charm, and the back had a card on it for the card soldier. So each side had a different Alice in Wonderland themed element to it, and I didn't win the main prize. The main prize, a kid won. He had built a really cool like birdhouse out of a tree stump, but I did get one of the category prizes. I think it tied for most whimsical, and I got a plant, which is great because I am currently working on my own garden, which if you saw the ROPS segment where I got a planter of plants, I replanted that planter box into a wheelbarrow, and now there is a nest with 4 teeny tiny baby bunnies.
Oh, wow.
A rabbit built a nest in the planter box that I built right here on ciLiving.
So birds and rabbits, all the wildlife in your garden. That's great.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. And in a little while, we're going to talk about trying to attract some other things. But before we do that, we have about a minute left. What's your favorite thing that you have in your own garden?
In my own garden, well, I do have a large vegetable garden. I also have a lot of pollinator space. So we focused on a lot of native plants. And so right now, my favorite things, we have some spiderwort that's in bloom, butterfly milkweed we'll see in a little bit, and then, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name of this plant. Purple poppy mallow. It's a low-growing plant. It's a native that's not very common, but it really spreads out and it fills in around all the other plants. So it has a beautiful pink flower right now. So just trying to think of the things that are actually blooming right now are kind of my current favorites. But as you know, over the course of the summer, that's going to kind of change and evolve as different things bloom and different parts of the garden come into bloom.
Well, and that was something that I was really inspired by at Garden Walk, was all the things that were sort of crawling on the ground and filling in those spaces, because that's really cool. That's really cool foliage.
Yeah, having something in every little spot so you don't have a weed where there's a blank spot.
Right.
That's usually my goal.
Exactly. Well, Garden Walk was a blast. If you missed it this year, you can definitely check it out next year. And after the break, Ryan is going to stick around and he is going to show you how to attract more butterflies into your garden when ciLiving returns.